You know, there's an increasing trend that I've seen going on for quite a while now, which I find very distressing. That being that the neurodiversity movement seems to be becoming more and more extremist in nature, and in turn, essentially delegitimizing authentic Aspergian and autistic voices. And I do believe that this is the greatest threat to Aspergian and autistic people. But what do I mean by more and more extremist? Well, let me explain. So very recently I was invited to yet another Facebook group. Oh boy. The group is called Neurodiverse UK, and it comes with a tagline, promoting the neurodiversity paradigm. But what is neurodiversity, you ask? Well, it's basically the idea that humanity as a species is stronger when both AS people, that is Aspergians and Autistics, work alongside neurotypical people, where we essentially build upon and utilize each other's strengths, and while at the same time covering for each other's weaknesses, to essentially form this unstoppable tag team. Yeah, when people talk about neurodiversity, they mention Captain Kirk and Spock from Star Trek, where you have two vastly different people, yet they're stronger and more capable when they work together, not in spite of those differences, but because of those differences. But that's basically neurodiversity in a nutshell. It is something that I do agree with and that I do believe, provided that it's only that and nothing else tacked on. But back to this Facebook group, I thought I might give them a chance, despite the string of Facebook groups I've found that are incredibly toxic. So I shared with them my latest video, and I just put it out there, and it was quite good, I think, very thoughtful. But that video had next to nil discussion in this group, and I thought, oh, that's a bit strange. I wonder what sort of things they do discuss here. So I looked around and I found this. This here is what they discuss.
You don't get to decide who deserves dignity, autonomy, and self-determination based on level of disability or an arbitrary functioning label.
When a professional describes AS people as either being high functioning or low functioning, it's professionals trying to describe what they observe. They're not trying to brand you with a label. And right in the middle it says, this is ableism, except it isn't ableism. Okay? Ableism is a hatred for disabled people, yeah? Pointing the finger and accusing them of being horrid bigots is not an argument.
There is no magical line that exists where one is justified to treat a disabled person as unworthy of these things.
So basically, you think that these horrid bigots are doing it as a way to take away your dignity, your autonomy, and your self-determination by branding you with this horrid label. Yeah? Except they're not. Okay? It's not labeling a person, it's making an observation about a person. Okay? They're looking at someone on the spectrum and going, oh, this person doesn't function too well when they try and do this kind of thing. That could mean that they're low functioning. Okay? That's not marring a person with a label. Yeah, it just doesn't have this malicious motivation behind it that you say it does. Okay? You know, I have my own criticisms with saying low functioning and high functioning as to why it's not quite accurate. Yet to say that they're these awful bigots that are just trying to mess up your life with labels is just absolutely fucking ridiculous. Also, have a good look at this meme once again. You know, they think it's a meme. Do you notice any similarities here? I'll give you a hint. Hey, it's this fucking refurbished feminist rhetoric. Hey, look, have a look here, right? They identify as victims Okay? They identify as this poor minority, saying that we're disabled, which I haven't found a compelling argument as to why we're disabled. And just as it is with feminist rhetoric, they also accuse people of being these awful, hateful bigots, where instead of accusing people of being sexist and misogynists, they instead accuse them of being ableists. And this here is exactly why I don't wish to be associated with any kind of idea or ideology. Because you have these extremists coming in and pushing this sort of crap, and all under the banner of autism and Asperger's. And it's not even slightly compelling. It actually has the opposite effect of being compelling. That image, for example, and that message, people look at that crap and they know what their own motivations are. Okay, they know that they're not hateful bigots and ableists. Okay, what'll happen, right, is they'll cross their arms like this and they'll go, "What? How dare you accuse me of this?" Okay, these guys are liars and they're hateful people. Okay? And rightly so, because it's not fucking compelling, is it? Eventually, after hearing more and more extremists saying that they're just horrid ableists and bigots and what have you, okay, they'll get it in their heads that we all go around doing that nonsense, and they'll just tune out altogether. Or even worse, will be viewed in the same light as these guys.
False rape accusations discredit rape victims, which reinforces rape culture, which is part of patriarchy. The idea of certain people are inherently more valuable than other people because of superficial physical attributes is part of patriarchy. The idea that men should coddle and provide for women and or purchase their affections in romantic context is condescending and damaging and part of patriarchy. I'm reading, fuckface.
I am the feminist who is out to ruin your life. Yes, I am that militant, man-hating ball-buster.
You should be fucking ashamed of yourself. You're fucking scum. You are fucking scum. Fucking rape apologist, incest-supporting, woman-hating, fucking scum.
Is there someone else I can wait to see more following?
Fucking scum. Yeah, just another...
I just want to listen to someone else's opinion. I'm not even on a side here. I just listen to as many people as I can.
You know what, though? Why would you pay money to fucking support a fucking rape apologist if you weren't fucking one?
I've never heard of saying anything.
Oh, we should film it. Oh no.
Hello, YouTube. It's been a while. I've missed you, and I'm guessing that you've missed me too, because I've heard that if a male atheist on YouTube goes too long without calling a woman a cunt, his balls will actually shrivel up and then tuck up inside of him, forming what some call a mangina.
This man represents hatred!
You're boring!
All white people are racist, all men are misogynistic, all cisgender people are transphobic.
Okay, and then we can kiss our acceptance goodbye. Now, at the time, I thought, it's probably just this once-off thing. It's probably just a couple of people here and there. But then I read the group's description. First, it starts off with, it's not intended to be a safe space, but we don't want it to be dangerous. It's not intended to be a support group, but we hope that it will be supportive. Civil discussion and debate is encouraged. Adult language is acceptable. Neurotypical people are also welcomed as members. And you think, oh wow, that's not too bad. But then it takes a turn for the worse. Group rules in all caps. No anti-vaccine rhetoric, no pro-cure talk. So already we're censoring the other side of the aisle. Okay? What happened to not being a safe space? Okay? What happened? Yeah? All of a sudden, other people are not allowed to challenge you on your positions. And this is in the very next paragraph. Okay? Do you realize just how piss weak that makes our arguments look? Okay? People look at that and go, aha, the Curebees must be right. Clearly, autistic people don't have a valid argument for what they're saying. All because all they can do is censor it. Okay? The anti-vaxxers are right, because the only way autistic people can oppose it is to censor it. And they'll be right, because censoring and blocking is not a valid argument. Okay? More than that, it's essentially this simpering and pathetic way of admitting that you're wrong. These people are literally validating and perpetuating this life-threatening anti-vaccine nonsense and this pro-cure garbage. Okay? They're basically saying to all the anti-vaxxers and all the Curebees, yep, you guys are 100% correct. Okay? That's what these guys are saying to them. Okay? That's what they're saying when they censor their speech like this. It also robs people of the chance to reaffirm and strengthen their arguments as to why that crap is just utter nonsense. Yeah, silencing them isn't a refutation. Okay? You're stunting and lobotomizing people that need to be able to refute that crap. Yet they can't see and learn from others refuting it, and they can't develop their own refutations and their own thoughts on the matter. Okay? These guys are robbing people of that, and these anti-vaxxers and Curebees, they just take their ideas elsewhere, okay? Where they don't get refuted, where their gross ideas just get propagated and spread around rather than debunked and refuted. No personal attacks on other members, no hate speech, no defamation, which sounds good on paper, of course, until you have incredibly dishonest people that will twist your words and take what you say well out of context, or even strip it of the context entirely, or intentionally misquote something you said to make it sound completely different. Yes, there are AS people online that do that. Yeah, I should know because it's happened to me many times. Yeah, I've even made videos detailing and exposing this, where I've posted legitimate criticism, and these incredibly dishonest people do these mental gymnastics to pretend that it's some sort of attack, or that it's defamation, or I post something completely valid, like a normal argument, right? And that normal people make, and they'll twist my words around and accuse me of trolling. Yeah, doing that is defamation. And it doesn't stop there. These incredibly dishonest people, people that have no sense of decency, then think it's acceptable to punish others based on their mental gymnastics. Okay? Even if you've done absolutely nothing wrong, these extremists have no issues and no qualms with censoring, silencing, deplatforming, kicking and banning, and then using it to slander you. Okay? Or worse, go after your job and try to get you fired. Yeah, I can't imagine what it would be like, just being that sort of person. There's just no sense of decency with these people. And it doesn't matter how incredibly polite you are. It doesn't matter if what you've said is completely innocuous. They'll just lie about you, okay? And use their lies as a way of doing just these awful things. This is not a dating site, okay? You do not have the right to dictate who others can and cannot talk to, okay? Not even governments have the right to do that. Okay? Not even in fucking North Korea. No research posting without permission. We must ensure that the research is autistic friendly. Okay? Science is the engine of prosperity. Okay? The car, the train, the aeroplane, electricity, the light bulb, television, the phone, the computer, the internet, modern medicine. Okay? Science, right, put a man on the moon and a probe on a fucking comet. And despite everything that science has given us, we still have people that are upset and offended when they hear scientific facts because it conflicts with their views and it hurts their feelings. Okay? Well, for all those people, if you're watching, I want you to listen very carefully to what I'm about to tell you. Fuck your feelings. Okay? Okay. Compared to scientific facts and our understanding of reality, your feelings mean dick. Okay? You know what that ungrateful, childish nonsense reminds me of? Okay? Okay? The feminist reactions to science, where things like sexual dimorphism are seen as horrid and offensive. Okay? It doesn't make us look like rational actors when we have people who are that delusional, that they have no issue with demonizing and dismissing facts and reality. But it might not be all that bad. The rules depend on how they're applied, right? Well, then I got a chance to talk to these people. I gotta ask, what's with the spectrum plus dyslexia thing? Why this random ailment over Alzheimer's or something? Because they had some really strange ties to all these other, random ailments, both in their tags and in their description. So I thought I'd ask them about it. Yeah, and this was my very first post in the group, by the way. I just thought I should mention that. But they asserted all sorts of outright nonsense where they actually believed that the spectrum was intrinsically linked to all sorts of ailments and health conditions. But I started to debate them on these, just naked assertions. It was this really casual, laid back, relaxing, normal debate. They couldn't substantiate any of their naked assertions, and I just casually shoot them, a little argument every now and then. Like for example, I'd say, okay, why aren't neurotypicals viewed as an intrinsic part of dyslexia then? And they couldn't refute any of them. They were just all over the shop. First, the spectrum was a mental illness, and then they'd say at another time that it was a medical condition, and then finally they ended up on it being a disorder. They were just all over the shop. They just posted all sorts of nonsense that wasn't even slightly convincing, and they had no idea what they were talking about. Like, if they were to claim they were on the spectrum, I would find that very hard to believe, because they don't sound anything like the AS people I've met in real life. I'll tell you that. Aspergians and Autistics do not equate themselves to diseases because we know that we're healthy. But that's a whole other video. It's not even something that's mentioned in the debate. Then all of a sudden, one of them posts this. It seems to me that you are just looking for an argument. This is in the same group that has in their description, civil discussion and debate is encouraged. Okay? I was not expecting to find people that are essentially lobotomized to the point where they actually view having a normal debate and presenting arguments as inappropriate, rather than something that normal people do. Then what she posted next was just shocking. I have done some checking up on you, and it seems that you have been removed from a number of autistic and ND support groups for trolling. All of those incidents are well documented and publicly available at that. Okay? And in none of them am I kicked for trolling. Okay? So everyone can look at the evidence and see that this person is just a barefaced liar. Admin are closing this thread. So this person repeats these accusations and assertions, and that are plainly false should anyone view the evidence, and then quickly locks the thread so I can't even defend myself from these false accusations. How incredibly cowardly and appalling is that? Your questions have been answered, and the group has no intention of changing its name and the people that we support. If you don't agree with this, then maybe this is not the right group for you. When something like this is said by an admin, I don't think it's someone that is merely pondering if I'm in the wrong group or not. This here is a threat. Okay? This person is basically saying that if I don't shut up, then I'll be kicked. Well, as you can see, threats don't exactly go over well with me. Then she makes another post. Troll warning. Admins are asking other members to ignore Moromillas posts. It seems that he has a history of trolling Autistic and ND Facebook support groups and has been removing from a number of groups because of his behavior. Okay? Again, people can see the evidence for themselves and see just what a barefaced liar this person is. But isn't it interesting how they have the rules of no personal attacks and no defamation in their description? Because that's exactly what this is. Rather than refuting my arguments or substantiating their nonsense, they go after me instead. Okay? See, this is their new go-to tactic. They just make up horrid lies about people they don't agree with and spread that around. Well, it is slander and defamation. Yet the admin are allowed to do just that. It's oh, you guys can't do this, this, and this, and if you do, we'll kick you out. Oh, but those same rules, they only apply to us if and when we feel like it. Absolutely disgraceful. But anyway, I'll share this video with them, and they'll see all of my arguments, so there won't be any confusion as to my motives and my positions. And they'll then, of course, they'll do the right thing, and they'll apologize, and they'll issue a retraction for their just awful, slanderous lies. But in conclusion, okay, people do need to talk about this sort of extremist nonsense and the people that perpetuate it. You do need to stand up to them and tell them that it's not appropriate, and expose it just by talking about it, because sunlight is the greatest disinfectant here. And if you don't, have a guess what's going to happen. Okay? Like, if we just shut up and let these radicals and these extremists just run roughshod over us, what do you think's going to happen? Okay? The real AS people will then be replaced by this fake extremist version, and we should know, because it's the exact same thing that happened to feminism. Okay? People view feminism as cancer, and rightly so. If we don't do something, then gradually over time, Aspergian and autistic voices will be just replaced by these fake extremist voices. And then have a guess what happens when we're recognized as having a majority of extremists and radicals. We too will be seen as crazy and hateful. Our very real issues will be replaced with just nonsense, and our legitimacy will just evaporate, just like it was for feminism. And then we'll be the ones that are viewed as cancer. Do you see the problem here? Okay? These people are a liability. You want neurodiversity and acceptance? Okay? You want to be treated the same way neurotypicals are treated? Okay? Let me tell you, that's not going to happen if we have a majority of radicals and extremists hanging about. Yeah? It'll go from being an uphill struggle. Do you want neurodiversity and acceptance? Okay. Do you want neurodiversity and acceptance? Okay. Do you want to be viewed and treated the same way neurotypicals are treated? Hey, let me tell you, that's not going to happen if we have a majority of radicals and extremists hanging about. Okay? It'll go from being an uphill struggle to kissing our chances goodbye. Well, yeah, that's the video. That's all I wanted to talk about. I'll see you guys later. See ya.